Hey guys, Cindy over at paper.old.new. Thanks for stopping by and spending some time with me today. I thought I would come to you with, in the middle of our calendar journey, while I'm finishing up the journal, before I do a flip through of it, I thought I would come on and do a little kind of different ways to do this that I would have been thinking of. And I thought I would share. So if you've got calendars and you really, you bought these calendars or you got these calendars, this one's from my church. I have all kinds of calendars here. And of course, these ones that we broke down that I kind of showed you what I did with. I just wanted to go through and talk about some ideas on how to make these, how to use these, like that, what my thoughts were. So that if you have calendars and you've been wondering, I don't know what to do with this. I'm hoping this will help. So, looking at these ones that we broke down before that I was talking about from the Longer Burger series, this was a whole bunch of calendars. Now, I could take this one and you've got the Longer Burger baskets in these calendar pictures, but what you also have are an animal. So every month there's an animal. So this is kind of an animals calendar. This one's kind of all front doors. I mean, it's all decorated. Can you see the door there? So this kind of has its own theme. This one, again, is kind of a walk through the year, but it's birds. There's like a bird in every... So this one has a theme. And then I came across these two. Now, the other thing that you can do with these, and by the way, don't get rid of these, guys. Make sure you keep... If your calendar has this page on the back where it gives you these little... inchies, I guess, of the main pictures, keep them. But these two calendars are both just the baskets. So this is all of the, I want to say in this calendar, all of the baskets. But there's nothing in them, flowers and stuff like that. But it's the same here. So these two are kind of similar in their themes. It's just baskets with stuff growing out of them. So my thought behind these was to combine them and make the journal together. So if I was going to do that, these went with this one. I want to make sure I keep track. If I was going to do that, I would decide which one would be the main pages of the calendar. So I'm going to take this one out because of the way I cut these. I cut them differently. So as you can see, this is a full page picture from the calendar, whereas these are cut with a frame. They're smaller. They have this kind of frame around them. My idea behind this frame was to make it look kind of like a Polaroid picture with the wide bottom and then around the thing. Okay, so these might not be pages in the glue together piece that is its own little page. These might be signature centers on the in-betweens. So if you remember how I put this together, you take a piece of scrapbook paper or a piece of some kind of paper that you want to use and you glue it on here like this. So I would glue this to here and then I would cut around it. Okay. And then in the middle of this one would be a signature. This might be a signature center for that. Okay. So that might be one way I use this together with this to make one journal. Okay. So that's one thing you could think about is if you've got calendars that are similar in theme. I just happen to get a whole stack of these Longer Burger calendars. That's why I've got so many that are basket themed. I got a whole stack of them at a thrift store for 99 cents. I think there were like a dozen calendars in there. So yeah, you can combine them and make them all one book. Okay, so that might be what I did with something like this. And as a matter of fact, I'm probably going to do that with this. So these will stay together and be used together as one journal. Okay. Now, you're also going to get these calendars that are all different page thicknesses. Okay, now I've already gone through and done the first step of calendar journaling, which is to remove the staples. That's the very first step. Got to do that first. These are very thin, like magazine paper. I got this particular calendar, landscapes. This also from my church, if I was going to do like a prayer journal type calendar. This one is focused specifically on the Apostles' Creed, which is a prayer in and of itself. So these are also the magazine type pages. So they're kind of thin. These are from the Dollar Tree. It came in a packet with 2 calendars like that for $1. So you can imagine these are even the covers are not real thick. But these are really thin pages. So what my thought for this was, one of the things you can do, especially if you've got a little calendar that goes with a big calendar, and you might not, but you may, if you've been to the Dollar Tree to get calendars and you did this. So what I do is I look at this and I say, okay, first of all, what size do I want my calendar? So, what size do I want my journal? So when I tear these pages out, this comes out to be 12 inches across by 11 inches high. Okay. What I tend to do is look at this back page and see, is there a spot at either top or bottom on all the pictures where I can take some off? Because I don't necessarily want all of my calendar journals to be 11 or 12 inches high. Calendars are big, right? So that's the first thing I would look at is, is there a place to take off? And it doesn't have to be the bottom every time or the top every time. So like in this picture, I would probably take off the top. But in, say, this picture, I'm probably going to have to take off the bottom because I don't want to cut the top of the windmill off. So, or the top of the mountain off. So I would take off of the reflection rather than off of the actual mountain. Okay, so in all of these, you just have to decide where you want to take your height from. And you can split it depending on how high you want your journal to be. We'll come back to that in a minute. First, I'm going through and showing you the different thicknesses. Now, this particular calendar, they get heavier. So this is a nice thickness. This is a nice weight. It'll carry on its own. There is no issue with these being, pages on their own or flip outs or whatever you want to use them for. Okay. Same with this. I want to say these ones are very, very thick. Okay. About the same thickness as that. These are probably the types of, I did not get these at, Dollar Tree. I got these at, your malls and stuff like that. They show up every year, the calendar store, and they sell calendars in like every theme known to man. Yeah, those. Okay. Then I have these that you get at Hobby Lobby. These 2 are Hobby Lobby, and this one's Lang. If you can find Lang calendars in a thrift store, an old Lang calendars are always, to me at least anyway, they're always gorgeous. And the paper is a nice thick weight. It's textured. It feels almost like fabric. And these pages tend to very easily stand on their own. So this is, it's nice and thick. It's not going to hurt for you to stand up gluing things to it, putting pockets on it. Whatever you want to do with this, you can probably do with this. It's like a lightweight cardstock, heavyweight paper idea. Okay. And then the same thing with these. I got these at Hobby Lobby. These are also a nice thick weight. Pretty much just about the same weight as those Lang calendars. And they also have texture to them. So they feel like they've got a fabric or a linen texture kind of a deal. Now, I was looking at, these are inspirational Bible quotes, as are these, and so is this. Now, this came from, you can get calendars anywhere, right? This one came from one of those thrift shops, and it was on the half off color. White was the half off color. So I got this for $1. And what I'm probably going to do with this is take half of these and put them in one of these journals and half of them and put it in the other journal. These pages are, again, really thin. So more than likely they would have to be reinforced if they were used as pockets or cards or whatever. So that's something to look at with those. Now, having said all of that, let's do some things to see if we can come up with good ways to use some of these journals. So this one, for example, I started something. Like I said, guys, I have a ton of calendars. Here's more of those Dollar Tree calendars. Some of them came, well, actually all of these came with little ones. What I've done here is sometimes your Dollar Tree calendars, this one came with a book that's called Sunsets, but these aren't all beach pictures. So this could stand on its own, and we're going to do something with one of those in a minute. These are all those flimsy, thin magazine page type. This is lighthouses. This could probably be used with its thing, kind of like that landscapes one that I have in here. So I'm going to put this under here. I've got blossoms. These are really big, bold images of flowers. Okay. And then this is inspirational quotes. They're not necessarily religious. The first one is from St. Francis of Assisi, but there's also one in here from William Wordsworth. There's one from Helen Keller, Thoreau. So these are just inspirational quotes from all kinds of different places. And the scenery is really pretty. And there's something I want to do with this calendar that's a little bit different than the other ones. So we're going to set that one aside because I'm hoping that we can get to these all as different examples. What was I doing with, I pulled this out and I wanted to do something with it with you guys, but we'll have to see. I'm going to set this over here. It's another one of the longer burger calendars. Okay, and then I have this one that's Colorful World. These are heavyweight pages. The other thing you have to look at is whether or not you like shiny pages, because a lot of calendars, the pages are shiny, like that magazine finish. Okay, these are all places from all over the world. As you can see, again, I have the little thumbnail pictures at the back. Love that. So, all right, now what I wanted to show you real quick. Let's start breaking one down. And these two are the same. So I want to give you an idea of how you can use the same calendar in different ways. So this first one, all right, I cut this one so that, oh, that's supposed to be in the trash. I cut this one so that the pages would be, I want to say I cut this so that they are just under 10 inches. It's like a 1/16 of an inch under 10 inches. Okay, and they're going to be, if I'm not mistaken, it's a 12-inch wide calendar. Yeah, so they're going to be 6 inches by almost 10 inches. Okay, so that's a little bigger than our 6x9. But that's okay with me. I didn't want to take any more off the picture. And it gave me a chance to save, there were quotes. So this one says, yesterday's flowers are today's dreams. It's a Japanese proverb. There was one of those for every month and I wanted to save them. So I cut them off the top. Okay. Now this calendar has the quotes in it. Sorry, this is the same calendar because this goes in here. This is the first time I've done one of these multiple things to do with an item in one video, so you guys will have to bear with me a little bit. This is the same exact calendar. Like I said, I found these two in a pile of calendars at a thrift store that were $1.25. These two I bought. I was like, well, what if I decide there's two different ways I can use these garden pictures? So I bought two of these, and I bought this colorful, the Colorful World of, Reed James. I'm assuming that's the artist. So I bought this, and this, and they were 75 cents for the three of them. And so I decided that I was going to do two of these. And what I want to show you now is a different way that you might cut these down. So I'm going to take this one. And what you do is you pull the staples out. Like I said, first thing you have to do is pull the staples out. And then I'm going to tear this in the middle. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to decide to make this one, this one's kind of a regular size journal. So it's going to be 10 inches by 6-inch pages. That's what this one's going to look like. For this one, I'm thinking maybe we'll do a long tall. So what I'm basically going to do is take off enough to make this about maybe 10.5 inches or 10 3/4, something like that. So let's see where that puts me. So I'm going to put this here. Ooh, I've done some cleaning, guys. I still want to give you guys a tour of some of the stuff I've been working on. I just haven't had a chance. And now I've done something with my cutting knives. Oh, there it is. Never mind. Okay, so calendars out of the way, cutting mat, and we are going to cut off the frame on this and then see how tall it is at top and bottom. So I want to take this off. Oops. Okay. So I want to take that off. And then at the top, there is a frame again, but there's also a hole. So let me see if I put this like this, how long this is. Now, this is at 11.5. I don't want my journal to be 11.5. I'm going to see where 10 3/4 puts me. 10 3/4 will put me well below. It'll put me well below the hole. You know, the hole that they put in the top of the calendar so you can hang it. I want to take that off. So we're going to make this a long tall, which means I'm going to cut it to about 10 3/4. That's what we want. Our calendar height is going to be 10 3/4. Now, I'm going to see how wide this is, because I'm also going to take the frames off of this, but I want to look at where I want this to be. This is 12 inches wide. I want to take 2 inches off, and the question is, do I want to take 2 inches off evenly? Sorry, I want to take 4 inches off. 1, 2, 3, 4. I want it to be, we're going to do maybe 3.5. 4.5 by 10 3/4, something like that. So what I want to look at is how much I want to take off of each side. I've got a lot of flowers over here. If I go too far in on this side, I'm going to lose this red. Okay? And I don't know if I want to do that or not. So what I'm thinking is I'll take off 3/4 of an inch over here. I don't mind losing these two. All right. This is where you have to play with your picture and decide how you want to balance it in your book. All right. So that's going to put me at 11.25. All right. Now I'm going to turn it because it's just easier for me to cut on that side. You don't have to do the turning part. And I said I want to get this down to about 10 3/4. So I'm going to take another 1/2 inch off of here. No, 10 3/4 was the height. I'm sorry. I want to get this down to 9 inches. I want it to be 4.5. All right. Now what you have to ask yourself is, do I mind cutting away this much of this flower or this flower? The purple, I don't like losing, but I'm not going to lose all of it. This goes all the way down the path. So I'm not losing all of this. Okay. And I'm not losing this, obviously, because that goes all the way down the path. So I'm going to look at this and I'm going to say this should be okay to cut at 9 inches. I've still got some of that purple under my ruler. And if I really wanted to, we can go 9 1/4 and I can take 1/4 inch off on the other side and still save some of that red. So this is where this is where you have to decide how much of the composition of the picture is important to you, or what parts of the composition of the picture are important to you. Okay, and I'm going to take another 1/4 inch off over here, hopefully. All right. And it's going to get the edge of one of those red flowers, but it's still going to leave me most of them. I just want color on that side of the book. Now, this is a nice wide piece. We took off this piece. This piece is almost 2 inches wide. So I might hold on to this and use it in the book. So I'm not going to get rid of that. These, I don't know if I'll use those. All right, now my picture. I fold this, and now I'm making this book. The pages are 4.5 inches wide by 10 3/4. Okay, and that's basically how I do that. I just do my balancing and I make sure that I get what I want on both sides. See, this red over here ties this red in from on this side, and this side doesn't end up being all green. All right, now the idea behind these calendar journals means that you're going to see this whole spread the whole time anyway. So if it doesn't bother you to cut it all off on one side, go for it. It's all going to depend on your eye and what you think of the picture. But you can go back and forth. Decide on how wide you want it and then take off from each side what you want. Let's try another one. All right. So we're going to start with, and I said I was going to keep that piece and I'm going to leave those over there. So I'm going to start with cutting this off at the bottom. I want to get this shadowy piece, whatever you want to call it, where they lightened it. I want to get this off down here. I will tell you this, lining this up with lines on this thing is harder. I have overhead lighting still. That's one thing that didn't change because the way this cabinet is built, there's lights built in over my head. So I ended up with overhead lighting again up here, just like downstairs. So that didn't get changed. Okay, so what I'm going to do then is we're going to do our 10... I need 10 3/4, right? That's what I decided. Now, I want to see where that puts me. I'm going to be taking off a lot of these trees back here. So again, I'm looking at this. 1/2 inch will bring me here. That's not necessarily a loss. This is kind of dull down here. The dull continues up here for the gaps, the alternating. So if I move up so that I'm in the water there, that doesn't bother me. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do is the 11 1/4 again, and then take another 1/2 inch off at the bottom. So 11 1/4. And this has to do with the fact that I'm kind of a measury person. So if I decide that I'm going to do a calendar where my pages are, oh no, I think I just messed up, guys. I did just mess up because I had it one space away, and last time I lined it up there. So this one's only 10 1/4. Okay, guys, if you're like me and you are talking more than you're thinking, you have to be careful because you'll end up doing what I just did. The question is, do I want to then take a 1/2 inch off in both directions on this page to make these two fit each other? I really didn't want this one and the other one to be the same size. Okay, correcting a mistake. So let's go ahead and get our, I think this one will be okay for me to just fold and then cut. And we won't look. So I still want to get this to 4.5 inches wide. And I think right now it's 6. So we're going to take 1.5 inches off, and we're not even going to, I'm not even going to look. I'm just going to take 1.5 inches off. Oh, the hangy spot. Never really came up against that before. All right, so we're going to put this here, and I'm going to go back 1.5. We're going to go right here, and we're going to make this 4.5 inches, and then we'll open it up and see what we got. The only thing I want to peek at is that I'm not getting to the bridge. I don't think I am. Okay. Let me see where we are. All right. Okay, so we're still 4.5. What we are missing is about a 1/2 inch height. See? So basically what I did was this. Everybody seeing that? They're not the same height. So, what I'm probably going to end up doing when I do this page is I'm going to get a piece of scrapbook paper. And when I say paper, I mean paper. This is already thick. I don't want it to be too thick. What I will probably end up doing is I'm a 1/2 inch short, and what I'll probably end up doing is taking a piece of paper, cutting another 1/4 inch off of either end of this, and framing this piece. So this one will be framed. That's probably what will happen. And then I will probably select a couple more to do that with on purpose so that it's scattered through the book and it doesn't look weird. Okay, so I basically wanted to find a piece so we can see what this is going to look like. So I'm going to try and put this. Okay, so I got my glue and I got my glue spreader. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to and then I'm going to show you the difference between, I want to show you the two calendars, like pages from both calendars side by side, so you can see what I mean by two different ways to look at the same calendar. And then we're going to move on to some other ideas. So this is ideas on how to use these calendar pages the same way I'm using them in the current calendar journal. So this is making them the focal point pages between your signatures, right? This is still the same idea as that. So that hasn't changed yet, but we are going to look at some other ideas for using these. All right, so that's on there like that. Guys, I think I just made another mistake, by the way. This is only going to have a top and bottom frame. Just keeps happening. Well, what I'll probably do is frame them all differently in the calendar, just so that it can be a variety on the pages. So this one's only going to have edging at the top and bottom, because I needed to cut this before I glued it down. I know all of you were probably sitting there watching me going, wait, you need to make that 4 inches. It's still 4.5. You can't cut it. Well, you know, we learn from our mistakes. And it's paper, so you can always, you know, change direction as you move. Like I'm doing with this one. So this one's going to still be the right height, and it's going to be the right width. It's just going to look a little different than most of the other pages. And scattered through this book, I will do this with a couple more of the pages. Just so that everything lines up properly. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this off. Okay, so I'm going to cut that off there, and then we're going to cut it off. I'm thinking it's crooked at the top, so we're going to cut it off on this side. I'm going to go out a little ways, and then that way it's not too short, or doesn't tilt in or whatever. And basically what we're going to do is I'm going to line the calendar page up here and here. And we're going to cut this off 1/4 inch. So this is my 1/4 inch mark. Anything that's hanging over gets trimmed off. Okay. And then that allows me to turn this over and put it at the 10 3/4 inch mark. Well, go to 10 3/4 inches and cut it off, and I should have a 1/4 inch top and bottom. Okay, to extend my page. So that one looks like that. Now the next one, what I'll do is I'll cut the pages down to 4 inches. And I'll frame the whole thing, 1/4 inch all the way around. Okay. And there we have that page. And now we've got 2 pages for this calendar. Okay, now this one will go together and there will be some sort of signature between there. All right. All right, now I wanted to show you what that's going to look like next to, so here's the same page that we did here, except this one's going to be like this. Okay. So this journal is going to be a long tall, and this one's going to be a regular book like we're used to seeing. Fun, right? So different ideas, same calendar. I'm going to put this back in here, and I'm going to put these in here. And these have gotten started. I'll probably put these in here. And these 2 have gotten started, so we're good there. I just wanted to show you how that works. Put those back there. Now, what I wanted to show you was this thought I had for this calendar. Okay, let me get to the middle. Oh, this is the middle. Okay, so I'm going to tear this the way we normally do. Okay, now like I said, these are very thin. All right, I'm going to fold it in half. I haven't decided on size yet. I'm just folding it in half to see where it's going to put me. Okay, and that gives me my, what do you call it? Come on, you guys, you can do it. My quote on that side. Now, I'm going to fold this one. And we're going to look at making, you can also make these into an accordion style journal, especially these flimsy ones, because you're going to want to glue something to these anyway. These pictures are very wide and open, so putting paper in here isn't necessarily a big deal. I think with an accordion journal, you need to fold some one way and some the other. Is that yes, no? So then this would go in here like this. Is that right? I do this and then I forget. So let's do a few and we'll see how it goes. So this one's going to need to be folded the same way. And of course you can mix and match these to figure out which ones you want together or whatever. And those are going to go like that. Okay, so this one's going to fold together like this. And those 2 facing pages. And then this needs to fold back this way. So yeah, you want to fold them all the same direction. So that's going to fold back that way. All right, and little by little, you'll build this journal. But what's going to happen is, this time, you're splitting your scenes. So I chose this journal because, like I said, the scenes are kind of wide open. I just folded this and I'm refolding it. And it's not necessarily good for these calendar pages because they're so flimsy. But these scenes are very wide open. Like this, okay? And the quote is usually on one side or the other. I looked at the back, like I told you before. look at the back of your calendar and see what you're working with. So on all of these, even if it's in the center of the page, it's to one side or the other. Does that make sense? So that one might be a little iffy, but the rest of them are middle. Okay, and the scenes are so big that you're not losing anything by having this as your scene versus the whole thing. And because these are so flimsy, they lend themselves very much to this particular type of journal because you want to reinforce these pages anyway, so gluing them together is a great way to reinforce them. Now, I will say this. Because these pages are so flimsy, where you're going to be sewing signatures is going to be, if you put signatures in this, again, that's totally up to you. You can make this some sort of folio that just has pockets and stuff in it. This does not have to have signatures in it. But if you decide to put any signatures in it, I would probably this is really flimsy to me, and you know me guys, I'm really, really big on reinforcement. So wherever I decided to sew signatures, I would probably put tape. And you're gonna need to decide that before you put the journal together, just because you want the tape underneath before you glue, right? Again, I would not do it on every one because more than likely some of these will be where I just stick like some pockets and stuff, but it's going to have to be a spot where you don't mind the two pictures that butt up against each other. That makes sense. Okay. So, and of course, when you're looking at this, you're going to want to look at where pictures butt up against each other. Like those two, if I put those two together, I'm probably going to stick a signature in there. Right? That makes sense. So I would probably stick a signature in there. And you also don't have to obviously keep them in calendar order. That's May. That's July. This is June. I've got them all very close. But I mean, you can mix them and match them based on what they're going to butt up against. So my next one would have to be something to go up against this. So maybe I go through here and I say... I might put that one there. I'm losing all my stuff, guys. No matter where I go, I end up not having enough room. Okay, so if I fold this over, and even if you do decide to sew pages in, you don't have to, it doesn't have to be thick. You can sew in like 2 pages. Oops, that didn't fold. Okay. Okay, so we're going to put this in here, like this, and we're going to close this over. All right, now we're doing the other side of this one. Or you can look back and say, what's on this side? What do I have over here? Oh no, it opens this way. The other side of the grass. No. So out of this calendar, we're going to make more of a folio idea. Maybe... Ooh, that's very pretty, isn't it? Now, this is the one where I said I wasn't sure how it was going to line up. That's not needed. This has got the little things on it, so I'm not going to get rid of that, but I may get rid of this. I don't need this. So I'm going to set that over there. And I'm going to take this off of here, and we'll hold on to this to cut those out. And this one is thicker. It might get used on my cover. Okay, so what do I want to put up against this grass? I was thinking maybe this one. Okay, so let's fold this in half. We're going to go ahead and try and interlock all of these together and see where we get. I do have one in here that I'm not sure I want to keep together, so I might end up redoing it later, but I want to get an idea. And just in case I'm going to sew, I will probably tape them all, but I just want to get this far and then I'll worry about taping. I'll do that off camera. Okay. Now, the next one we have is the poppies. And this is what I think I was worried about before was I'm not sure if I like that. So I might move the poppies. Let me see. Oh, the other thing you might want to take into account is where your quote is. So I'm going to slide this off of here. That's holding two together, so I don't want to be too... The other possibility is this one. I might actually like this one better. Of course, that does put me with 2 pages that do not have a quote. So there's no quote there and there's no quote here. With this one, I would end up getting a quote, but I'm not sure if I like those together. I do not mind these together. I'm going to leave that. Okay. And then we need something to go with our bridge and fog and whatnot here. That might be a hard one. That's what I was talking about. I don't know that I would want... I don't mind the 2 blank. I don't know that I would want 2 here. So probably not that one. And again, so not that one. These are kind of self-eliminating. Well, all right. It's probably going to end up being this one then. Probably the best one would be this, but again, that's going to be 2 quotes right next to each other. Okay. And again, the ones where I mean, I definitely am like, I did this because it was the only thing that I felt went together. That will probably end up getting something put with it. The other thing is if I flip back over and I say, let's see, where were we here? Oh, tell you what, man, these mountain scenes, not easy. Could I do this? What side is the... I had these butt up against each other before and I didn't like it. I don't know why I'm trying to... Oh. You know what? Top and bottom, I don't know if I mind it. Okay. See? You can always change your mind. This is going to be a long one, guys. I hope you'll stick with me. Alright, so this one's going to go in here like this. And then we're going to flip this way. And we're going to see what's on this side. Oh, okay, flowers. It's going to end up being top and bottom quotes again, if I put that there. Or not. So let's put this in here like this. Right. So far, so good. What were we struggling with at the other end? Oh, yeah. All right. I think I'm going to do this. Okay. Now, obviously snow and lavender don't go real well together, but the colors do. So we're going to go that, and then I'm going to go this. Again, the colors. What this will also allow me to do is the colors that go in this signature will be a mix of the colors that are in these pictures. So it allows for that sort of thing. Now, my only thing now is where to put this guy. Okay, so if I go like that, see that folds the quote. I might leave that out. Okay, so this is our, but either way, I'm going to want to put a cover on this, and I don't want to cover up this picture. So more than likely what I'll end up doing is getting a piece of some sort of paper to fold in here. Okay, now, one of the things you'd have to decide is whether or not you want your fly paper, which is basically what this will end up being, to be the same on both sides. And if I was going to do it the same on both sides, it would need to probably be like a green color. Now, I've got this, which I think goes okay with this page and this page. So what I would more than likely do, I do have another piece if I need it, but what I would more than likely do is I'm pretty sure it's the same width as the calendar. Yeah, the easiest thing is going to be to just get two pieces, which is fine because I'm using up stash, guys. It's good. Okay, now we're going to put this down here. And basically what we would do is this would then become the paper that goes in here. Okay, and obviously you would trim it to fit. Okay, and this is going to be your fly paper to attach your cover to. All right, in both sides. So then I would take this one. I did do them, yeah, I went on this way. So I would then take this one and do the same thing. So I would take this one and put it in this side like this, and you would have the same thing back and front. And basically when you get everything glued together, this is what you would attach your cover pieces to. All right, and then you would have an accordion journal. Now, I have learned from past experience on accordion journals, you don't necessarily want to sew in like full-size 10-page signatures into every fold in this accordion journal. If you sewed in like 1 or 2 pages here and there, that would be fine. But you definitely don't want to put 10 pages into every fold. So I don't want to open this up and say, okay, 10 pages go there, 10 pages go here, 10 pages. It gets to be too much. All right, so we've got that one. That's going to be an accordion journal. That's going to be great. That's going to go, and we can use the thumbnails for decoration. We're all set with that. All right, so that's another one. Now, one of the other things I wanted to show you, and the best place to show you would be this one because I already have this idea, and I think that it's going to be fun. So I have this whole calendar of, oh, I've already torn them up. Okay, I have this whole calendar of, let's use this so it won't look so weird, of these recipes. So what I was thinking about was, what if you made a baking journal or a cookie journal, okay? And rather than make it so that this is a page, that you're folding this into a signature, we're going to make a little decoration. All right. Now, you can do this one of 2 ways. These are a relatively thick paper page, so I don't have to worry about necessarily reinforcing this, depending on how I use it. Okay, now there's a couple of ways we can do this. I'm going to use this as my page. There's a couple of ways I can do this. I can glue this down and I can make this a tuck. I might want to reinforce this if I do that. But I can glue this down and make it a tuck with something behind it. And then I can put a tab on here, and this can open up and you can see the picture with the recipe. And you can flip this open and you can have journaling space, notes about the recipe, anything like that. So I would cover the back of this with journaling paper. All right. So I might get, let me see. Okay, so maybe I stick this in here, like so. Or you can make notes, because this is going to flip open, so I want the whole thing to be. I'm paying attention. It's late, actually, here. I'm filming, it's almost 11 o'clock. I'm having a late night. I'm a little tired. Anyway. So we're going to go all around like this. All right. So I want to make it so that I can get, I'm hoping that that whole box gets on there. I want to do it this way. I want to make sure I get all the numbers and all the box. And if I do it this way, I can do it straight. Okay. All right. My little glue spreader card. Spread all our glue out in here. I hope. Okay. And then, of course, we would have to fold this to make our fold again. And then we're going to cut this off. So if you have these calendars that you love the images, I mean, we buy these calendars because they're decorative and they're something that we like, right? Because you can get a calendar just about any topic. So we end up buying these calendars because we find them pretty or whatever. And then you look at it at the end of the year and you're like, oh, but I don't want to throw it away. I love this picture and I love this picture. And I just feel like this is a great way to preserve the calendars, just like we do with old books and stuff. You can preserve all of the calendar pictures that are so gorgeous that you love. So like this, I have that one that's an art calendar. I have one that's, I have a lot of these that are photograph calendars. You know, so whatever kind of calendar you happen to have, you just figure out what you like about it and away you go. Okay, so for this particular one, and I left that edge on purpose for now because I might use it as an extension to help me decorate this piece. And then what you would do is you would open this up and you could write, and then you would open this up and you would have a picture. And like I said, if this was down on your page on these two sides, you could have something tucked under there. And then you would have this cute little, okay? So that's one way you could do this. Another way you could do this is, aren't they cute? Now, for this one, I would try to get it so that I folded between the little girl and her. Wait, I've got to fold this first. So I want to fold this over just like we did before. All right. And then I'm going to fold this, hopefully, between the little girl and her dad, granddad, whatever. this person she's baking cookies with. And then again, what you're going to do with this one is, now, I would reinforce this because what I'm thinking to do with this one is I would take this, and you could do this on the edge of your page. Make sure that it's right side up. All right. So you're going to fold this around your page like this. This would tuck in and fold under. All right. And you would open this up, and this would be a tuck. Okay. And again, you could tuck notes about your recipe, whatever you want to do. This would be a tuck. And then this would open up. And again, I would cover this to make journaling space. And then you would fold this back in. Okay. And that's a fun way to, because when you flip it out this way, of course, you get the little girl and her dad sharing a basket of what appears to be oatmeal cookies. Ambrosia cookies. All right. So this one's a tuck. A tuck. So I'm going to clip the side here, and I'm going to clip the side here. Excuse my head. If it got in there, I might have edited it out. Okay. And I'm going to clip that there to remind me that that's what I want to do with this. And then, of course, I'm going to have to clip it again when I reinforce it. But then you would take a piece of paper. I don't know that I want to use that again. What do I have in here? That's just that. Okay. Now this one, for this particular one, you might be putting these in. These might be add-ins to one journal, various journals, baking journals, cookie journals. Okay, I can't get that back on that shelf. I'm not going to mess with it right now. You could use them to decorate any of the journals that you're working on that have to do with baking or whatever, right? And so in this particular case, your calendar pages don't have to stay together, but you're still maintaining the picture in the calendar. And you're making it interactive in whatever journal you stick it in. Now, if I have to bake a dessert, cookies are probably my favorite to bake because they're, on the one hand, they're easy, but if you're baking cookies in big batches, they're monotonous. I mean, it's very, like, just constantly doing the same thing over and over again. Every 10 to 12 minutes, you're pulling a tray out of the oven, you're putting another tray in, you're scooping cookies, or whatever you're doing. I guess it depends on the kind of cookie you're making. If you're making some sort of shortbread cookie or refrigerated cookie where you have to stick it in the fridge, and then I'm trying to decide which side I like better. I think we'll do the lighter side, and I'm going to try, actually I'm just going to try and make it pretty much all the way up to that fold. Okay. As you can see, I have a ton of calendars. I mean, you're watching me go through this pile, right? I mean, you're seeing what I'm doing here. So we may come back to figuring out what to do with calendar pages again in another video if you guys are interested in more ideas or interested in seeing how I cut down different calendars. I really want to do you saw the dog one, right? That's my dog, Australian cattle dog. That's the kind of dog I have. This is really hard with a glare because right in here, it's a similar color to the coffee dyed paper I just stuck on here. So we're looking at this from all the different ways that you can And it doesn't, and like I said, it doesn't necessarily have to be that you have to keep the calendar pages together, which is why these two I thought were important to look at, because they give you a good way to use these calendar pages in some sort of journal. Now, I will say this, to my mind, if I'm looking at a journal and I'm going, I wonder what I could put with this journal. What kind of pages could I put in here? I have an Etsy shop and I make digital kits. I may very well go to my computer and say, you know what? I want to make some pages, some digital pages that will go in this calendar, but they could also be a standalone kit. So I think, and I think, and I think, and I think, and I say, yeah, this is what we're going to do. And I make some sort of kit surrounding that. Now, if you don't make digital kits, because I know not everybody does, if you don't make digital kits, then you could go find a digital kit that would go with the calendar that you're making. Okay, so this one, like I said, you would glue it in on this side as a tuck, and then you would have this on the other page flip out. You could put notes on here about the recipe, and then you have this really cute, adorable picture of this young lady and her dad sharing some cookies. I mean, it's very heartwarming, right? All right, I am going to leave it there for now, and what I think I'll do is bring you a part 2 on what you can do with calendars, and we will see what else we can do with making these calendars into journals and how we might use all the parts and pieces. And I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for joining me. And, like I said, pull out your calendars and come along for the ride. These are great fun to make journals out of. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.